an income limit for all of the different Medicaid programs, and specifically for the long-term care Medicaid program, there is a special income limit. They refer to it as the SIL, which is equal to 300% of the SSI payment amount. If you're over the income limit, then there are still ways to gain eligibility, depending on what state you live in. So if you live in an income cap state, you can gain eligibility via a qualified income trust. If you are not in an income cap state, then you would be in what's called a medically needy spend down state. So you could obtain eligibility via the medically needy program. A qualified income trust, which is also known as a Miller Trust, is a trust bank account that an individual sets up in an income cap state when they are over the income limit. And they essentially, the way it works is they would deposit, in most states you just deposit the excess income amount into the trust bank account each month. And then that income that gets deposited is not counted towards the income limit, otherwise making the individual eligible. And the income that goes into the trust has to be spent down on only on certain expenses each month. So a pooled income trust is different than a qualified income trust in a few major ways. One would be that a pooled income trust is set up through a nonprofit organization, whereas a qualified income trust is essentially just a checking account you can set up at the bank, any bank. Another major difference would be that the pooled income trust, the expenses that you can pay out of a pooled income trust are not as limited as a qualified income trust. So in a qualified income trust, you are limited to mostly only being able to pay your medical expenses from that bank account. From a pooled income trust, you can pay your utilities, your credit cards. There's a much broader list of expenses that you can pay from that. And the third major difference is that the pooled income trust, there's a lot of fees to set up and maintain a pooled income trust, whereas a qualified income trust, there can be little to no fees. So the qualified income trust is available in the income cap state. So if the individual is not in an income cap state, then they are in what's called a spend down medically needy state. If the applicant is over income in a spend down medically needy state, then what happens is they are not eligible via the special income limit pathway, and they would be screened for the medically needy program, which has a lower income limit in each state. And it really works just like a deductible. So essentially the medically needy program does have a lower income limit. However, if the applicant has high medical bills, then they would qualify by spending down on those medical bills down to the medically needy income limit. As long as they meet the sufficient medical expenses to spend down to the income limit, then they're eligible for that month, and Medicaid would cover any expenses over that amount. Challenges that exist when trying to gain eligibility via the medically needy pathway most often are that the applicant does not have sufficient qualifying medical expenses to spend down on each month, so they do not meet the spend down. Or they're living in an assisted living facility, and those expenses in many states do not qualify. They're not allowable expenses, so they cannot be used towards the spend down.